Hey everybody, I've got a great one for you today because Kia has flown me out to beautiful Rhode Island to take a first look at the new 2024 Kia Seltos. So their small all-wheel drive crossover has been refreshed. We've got some big changes on the inside, a few small changes on the outside, and one large change which makes this vehicle much more appealing to me because I loved the Seltos when it debuted 3 years ago or so, but it had something that really didn't sit well with me, and I'm hoping that Kia has finally addressed that. So let's go into this video. Now the Seltos is a small front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive crossover from Kia, which competes with vehicles like the Subaru Crosstrek, like the Hyundai Kona. This is a really popular class now. You could even stretch that competitive list to vehicles like the Ford Bronco Sport, although that's going to be a little bit more expensive. Now it starts for 2024 at a tick over $24,000 and then runs into the mid $32,000 range. And we'll look at the pricing on this one in a minute. Now let's talk about some of the visual changes for 2024. So first of all, we got a new color. It's this funky blue-green. It's called Pluton, and almost like a pastel. Looks very 60s to me, but kind of bridges the gap between pastel and earth tone. And this one is the SX trim. Certain trims of the Seltos have this new LED light signature which extends into the grille. We've got a new grille design in general, a little bit larger, a little bit more prominent, and then the headlights are new as well, projector LEDs. So good looking car. We still have the integrated fog lights down there in the lower front fascia. Now we do have a simulated bash plate up front. I say simulated because clearly that still is plastic, but it gives the Seltos a bit of a rugged look. New wheel designs. This one is rolling on Kumho tires with this 18-inch wheel. Very similar design in my opinion to the Subaru Crosstrek with kind of this cool two-tone silver on the gloss black. Gloss black mirrors on this model, and we're also seeing this one in that two-tone look with the body color and the roof in separate colors. A little bit of a satin chrome on the belt line here. Very attractive design down the side, I think. Integrated roof rails. This particular one does not have a sunroof, but you can see the roof rail comes toward the back, makes this little thin, small deck spoiler up top here, rear wiper, and then the rear end has received the most prominent facelift. So the old one, if you recall, had kind of the silver bar, which ran from the right taillight to the left, but the new one now has gone to this very trendy look of having that long, continuous light bar. Seltos badging down there. 4X on the right rear of the vehicle to indicate all-wheel drive, and then the lower part of the fascia is pretty similar to the old one, but once again, a little bit of a silver plate down there. But overall, I think it's a pretty attractive car. I like that it's a little bit boxy, a little bit angular. The new Kona, in my opinion, is a little too swoopy and smooth, but this looks, it's got a little bit of a rugged look, right? There's also a new X-Line version, which has made its way to the Seltos lineup. Now, the big change, and this is what I want to talk about, the engine. So, two engine options available. There's the base engine, naturally aspirated 4-cylinder, 2-liter, right around 146 horsepower, but the turbo model, the optional turbo, which we're looking at here, the 1.6-liter Gamma Turbo, as it's known internally, has gotten a boost up to 195 horsepower. So that's a 20 horsepower boost over the old one. Now they've changed some of the features on this engine. It's got new turbo, it's got a larger impeller on the turbo, it's got new injectors. So we are going to see that boost in power of roughly 20 horsepower, but the big change is the transmission. So the old one had this 7-speed dual clutch, which I always found to be a little clunky, just a little unappealing in traffic situations while it tried to engage and disengage the clutch. The new one, though, has gone to an 8-speed torque converter automatic, which I'm stoked about, and we'll have a full driving review coming up a little bit later in the next couple of weeks. This is the problem with doing it by myself with one hand. There we go. And we'll let you know how the car drives, give you some driving impressions then. But it has taken a slight fuel economy hit, so the fuel efficiency has gone down by 1 combined on the EPA. So this vehicle in all-wheel drive with the turbo rated at 26, the old one was rated at 27, but it's actually gone down 3 mpg on the highway according to the EPA. So that is one of the advantages of those dual clutches, is they're really efficient, especially at cruising at higher speeds, not a lot of losses. But I'd much rather take a torque converter, hopefully with an improved feel. Once again, we'll find that out soon, over the old school dual clutch automatic. So, some other things that are interesting about the Seltos, it comes standard in all-wheel drive. One of the few vehicles in this class that comes standard with all-wheel drive. The Crosstrek does, of course, but vehicles like the Corolla Cross, the Kona, right, those are typically going to have optional all-wheel drive, but the base model LX comes standard with all-wheel drive. And then as you walk up the trim line, certain versions are going to have front-wheel drive with optional all-wheel drive. So depending on the model, it's worth noting, you want to make sure you're getting the one that's going to fit your needs. Now from an interior standpoint, we're looking at some changes as well. Let's hop on in, we'll start her up and take a look at some of the things that differentiates the 2024 Seltos from the previous model year. Push button start, base model does come with the key. All right, pretty attractive looking interior. Now, this one in this particular color combo is a little too dark. There is a new brown, which I really like for 2024. That's the one I would get, but of course this one you just have the black premium seating with surface. These seats, very comfortable. This top trim SX does have a power driver seat with lumbar control. However, the passenger seat is still a manual design. If I look in the glove box here, I can pull out the window sticker and we can take a look at what we're looking at. So this one's not quite top of the line. It is missing a couple options. So we don't have the ventilated seats. We don't have a sunroof in this car, but even still it's spec'd at $31,885. And you can see S6 turbo all-wheel drive in the Pluton blue. The only options on this one are the paint and then the carpeted floor mats for $175. Destination charge a little pricey at $1325. But all versions of the Seltos now have a standard digital cluster and digital info screen, but the sizes change a little bit depending on the trim. So the base car has a little 4.25-inch display with digital speedometer, and then this car is rolling the full 10.25-inch digital display and the full 10.25-inch touchscreen display up there with integrated volume and tune knobs. Absolutely fantastic. This Kia system is quick, it's easy to use, it makes a lot of sense, and it's just a very intuitive system. One of my favorites, actually. I really like the way that this works. I find it to be super easy, super fast, super great. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all of that's going to be found in there. And then the cluster screen, we actually have a couple of different screen displays which you can change from in the settings if you don't like kind of this look. This is my favorite, this organic one, with it actually mirrors and it matches the surroundings. So if, for example, when it gets dark, you can it'll actually go dark, but you can have like the more classic display if you want the speedometer and the tachometer in there. But I like that dynamic look. I think it's really cool. Steering wheel with audio controls, multimedia controls. They've improved the technology across the board on the Seltos, the safety technology. So we now have standard collision avoidance with cyclist detection, that kind of thing. So if you want the safety tech, it's all incorporated in here. Got your turn signals there with your wiper controls, your mirror control, or your light controls, all in there. No automatic wipers on this car, but we do have like the lane centering. We got the adaptive cruise, so very well equipped on the inside. Traditional transmission selector, which I like, for the 8-speed automatic. Heated seats, don't have the optional ventilated seats. Drive mode selector up there. You can go between normal, sport, and smart. And then in this car, we have single zone automatic climate control with the 3-mode auto, and heated seats, Qi wireless charging in there, USB-A and USB-C ports. So let's get set up in my driving position here, and we'll check out the rear seat to see how the rear seat legroom and headroom looks. Okay, yep, that feels about right. I'm 6 feet tall, and sitting behind myself, knee room is pretty decent. So you can see I have probably an inch or two to go to the seat pocket. No map pocket on the back of the driver's seat. There is one on the back of the passenger. Venting here, 2 USB-C ports. Nice having rear seat air vents. I think that's something that the new Crosstrek is missing. And then I like this kind of geometric pattern that you'll find here on the speaker grates, which looks really cool. And then the nice thing about having this boxy design is I actually have really pretty good headroom. So you can see in a lot of new cars, especially with the sloping coupe look, I'm pretty short on headroom. But this one actually feels quite nice. Now as we come along to the rear, just over 26.5 cubic feet worth of space. There is an optional power liftgate, but as you can see, this one is still running the old-fashioned manual kind. We do have the little view blocker here. It's kind of a molded design. Seats do fold down, and then underneath the rear floor, you can see we've got Alex's gear in here. We got all my gear. Look at that. Space Saver spare tire. which is a lot better than some of this vehicle's competition, which have gone away from the spare altogether. Now, in terms of capability, 7.3 inches of ground clearance, which is carryover from the current Seltos, and then the big change is going to be the horsepower, right? Up to 20 horsepower to 195. But overall, folks, I think it's a pretty attractive design. I wish they would have gone a little bit more dramatic with the exterior refresh, especially from the front. It's really hard to tell the 23 from the 24 if you don't get this new Pluton blue color. But the interior, I think, brings some nice changes, and I'm really excited to see what this thing drives like with that new 8-speed automatic. It's available now, hitting dealerships. Let me know what you all think in the comment section below. As always, been Tommy. Big thank you to Alex Dykes over at Alex on Autos for putting up with my shenanigans, and we'll see you on the next video.